Good afternoon, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. Well, it does look like the pressure of what's about to come down the pike with the whole new Republican Congress is already getting to them. Now, needless to say, this sorry excuse for a White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, is being widely and rightfully excoriated by the media for her ridiculously condescending behavior and demeanor. In that press conference, the question which was called came from a reporter from the Daily Caller. The question involved the controversy over the origins of COVID, which, of course, is exactly what the new Republican House is going to be investigating, along with Hunter Biden, the corruption of the FBI and the like. And what just happened is only serving to prove the point of the investigations, because instead of simply letting Fauci answer the question of what he knew, and when, about the COVID origins, Jean-Pierre got in front of them and rebuked the reporter for being disrespectful. And as you saw, to their credit, other reporters weren't having it. They defended a perfectly legitimate question, asked in a perfectly legitimate manner, and that forced cutting Jean-Pierre to go into a full tantrum and run away. It was a pathetic sight to behold, to say the least. But last we let Curry's Al Piano's absurd antics get in the way, the question of the origins of COVID. And what and when Fauci knew about it is not going to go away. And this, of course, is because of the widely recognized plausibility of the lab leak theory of COVID origins against the backdrop of the US-funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab. Political intrigue doesn't get more enticing than this. The bottom line here is, did Fauci deliberately attempt to downplay or play the lab lead theory in order to basically cover up his funding of the gain-of-function research in that very lab? As I'm sure you will know, it was widely reported back in October of last year that the National Institutes of Health admitted that they did indeed fund gain-of-function research on bats infected with coronaviruses at the lab in Wuhan, despite repeated denials by Fauci that US tax dollars were ever used in gain-of-function research. So just so that we're clear, gain-of-function research, bottom line, intentionally makes a virus deadlier or more intense so as to be able to anticipate its variants and forecast possible cures. But of course, the risk in all of this is that the viruses that are being researched and made all the more deadly and transmissible have the possibility of spreading outside the lab. So of course, the question is, if that were to happen, what would the political pressures be to basically cover up any participation in the gain-of-function research? Well, back in April of last year, the Wall Street Journal reported that the National Institutes of Health under the directorship of Fauci actually funded the Wuhan lab's research through an organization known as the Eco Health Alliance to the tune of $3.7 million. And now, it looks like the NIH is indeed openly admitting this. They did fund EcoHealth and turn funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab. And then, on top of all this, you had the email scandal that rocked Fauci like never before. Alright, so back in June of last year, thousands of private emails from Fauci were released to the Washington Post, BuzzFeed News, to CNN through the Freedom of Information Act. And these were emails that were dating from January to June of the year 2020. So this is when COVID first reached our shores and developed into the full-blown pandemic, and the emails were in many respects startling. They were startling in terms of what they revealed about the radical discrepancy between what Fauci actually knew about the lab leak theory from the very beginning, and what he publicly stated he knew, which is obviously a huge problem for Fauci given that those public statements were under oath. But we now know that as early as January 31, 2020, Fauci had received an email from the head of the nation's largest biomedical research facility, warning Fauci that COVID was very possibly engineered coming from a lab, rather than the so-called wet market theory. Right? So the whole question as to whether COVID was engineered was front and center with Fauci and the NIH from the very beginning of the pandemic. But of course, given that the NIH funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan under Fauci, there appears to have been very deliberate efforts to downplay that origins theory so as to cover up that funding. And so that makes this reporter's question regarding what Fauci knew about the lab leak theory and when he knew it, and then comparing and contrasting his answer to what he stated under oath, as one of the most relevant and important questions that could possibly be asked at this point. And now you know why the White House is starting to panic over all of this, because if officials were not honest about this, then what else were they dishonest about? Those are the kinds of questions that are going to be repeatedly asked, and I don't think there's any place for the White House to hide. Some significant news: Donald Trump's Twitter account is back. Elon Musk reinstated the former president. Well, it's been quite some time since Elon Musk took over Twitter. It's been quite some time since Elon Musk fired a good chunk of the staff, and while the platform still seems alive and well, all the leftist Twitter Y2K predictions are falling flat. If anything, it seems like Twitter is getting bigger and better each and every single day. Not to mention, ever since Donald Trump was unbanned, it seems as though democracy is still intact, just like when leftists predicted that when Donald Trump won the election in 2016, it was going to be World War III, the end of the world, the end of American democracy, a start of American fascism. Well, it turns out that it's just a group of unhinged, out-of-their-mind Trump derangement syndrome wackos who are constantly predicting doomsday anytime they don't get their way, a typical fear-mongering manipulative tactic. But of course, what's really going on, why the left is really lashing out here, is because they don't want Elon Musk to reveal the truth, but their efforts are futile because that's exactly. And in a little interaction with Kyle Becker on Twitter, Elon Musk once again debunks another leftist narrative, although as if it wasn't obvious already. Alright, folks, we'll take a look at this interaction right over here. Called Becker writes, imagine if Elon Musk were actually the right-wing boogeyman the spoiled lefty journos pretend he is, and he decided to turn the tables and ban all the left-wing fake news from Twitter. There'll be nothing left for them to publish. This is kind of similar to what I was referring to yesterday in a video I made on CBS, finally admitting the Hunter Biden laptop is real. Think I'm kidding? Most of these outlets are fake news machines. You can add the APS fake news report on a Russian rocket hitting Poland that might as well be begging to start World War III. The most damaging fake news comes from the biggest corporate media outlets. Even post a list of all the fake news media nonsense, all the BS narratives. Some of them I'm actually gonna have to redact. Welcome to YouTube, I guess. But then Elon Musk responds, true. He then continues, and this is where the narrative explodes, as is obvious to all but the media. There is not one permanent ban on even the most far-left account spouting utter lies, not even the Associated Press with their completely fictional report on Russian missiles hitting Poland that carried severe consequences for the escalating war. He also responded to Dinesh D'Souza, who wrote, we don't hear much about Democrats and leftists being brought back to Twitter. Why? Because they were never kicked off in the first place. Their lies and misinformation simply escaped all scrutiny. Censorship has been deployed as a one-way operation against conservatives at Elon Musk, and Elon responds, correct. Elon Musk is absolutely destroying the narrative. I mean, for years, all these left DOJ talking heads have been citing all of these random studies claiming that it's not true. It's incorrect. It's misinformation to claim that conservatives are being disproportionately censored on online social media platforms. That's fake news. They kept saying, well, now as Elon Musk is taking over, the truth is finally coming to light. That's exactly what's been happening as he continues to reinstate banned accounts. Not one of them may be Kathy Griffin. But of course, that's just a recent event. And she literally broke the rules. Not one major prominent outlet or major talking head on the left is having their account being reinstated after an unfair ban, not a single one. Because what's been going on over the last couple of years has been nothing but an orchestrated plot to censor and weaken the conservative side, to make them seem like extremists, to metaphorically criminalize conservatives. Conservatism, you know, it's like I always say, these platforms make me feel as if I'm a criminal, as if I need to look over my shoulder with everything that I do and say, because if I don't, then the law is going to come after me. I mean, it's just wild. All the misinformation, all the dangerous lies that leftwards are constantly promoting from top to bottom, from your little blue anon account with 2 followers all the way to the Associated Press, MSNBC, CNN, and they do it without consequence, even to the extent where they're doing something that's illegal, doxing, intimidation, threats of violence, no account action, or no suspension. The worst I've ever seen is a temporary lock where the left on account is forced to delete the tweet, and then immediately their account is back on the platform, or they have full permissions to post again. Meanwhile, again here as Elon Musk is exposing the whole system, we're finally getting to quantify the whole Twitter censorship situation. I mean, over the years, you kind of lose track as to how many accounts have really been suspended. I think maybe 20 or so accounts have been reinstated so far, Every single one except for Kathy Griffin, which again doesn't even count. Considering the context, every single account, we'll say 100% of accounts, they're all conservatives, and the sheer number is astonishing. Every single day more people are being reinstated. Most recently Project Veritas James Lindsay. Hey Alexa. Alex, not exactly sure how he goes by, but his Twitter handle is LX. Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal account recently being on suspended. Sab says I believe her name is Savannah Hernandez. It's all going in one direction. And as you see them pile up, as you see all of these people get unbanned. Oh, and by the way, Carl Benjamin Sargon of Akkad just got unbanned as well. You start to really see what's been going on over the last couple of years. It's been a totally orchestrated, coordinated assault on conservatives and the assault on free speech. And it's been absolutely hilarious seeing all the leftist cope, and it's been absolutely hilarious seeing all of these left boys trying to justify what's been happening. Oh, the reason why leftwards aren't being suspended, and all of these conservatives are being censored, is because liberals just don't break the rules. Give me a break. Yes, we know left droids can do no wrong and conservatives are literal Nazi fascists. Absolutely ridiculous. But what I just can't seem to wrap my head around is how many people are willing to fight against free speech. I mean, that, to me, is the most wild concept. Elon Musk made a similar point, writing, "It is shocking how many journalists viciously attack free speech, but somehow think they're the good guys." Exactly. I don't get how many people are willing to justify censorship. It's actually wild. But luckily, in this cultural battle, they are losing. Luckily, their narratives are being absolutely debunked with this Elon Musk takeover. And also one narrative that's probably crumbling the fastest is this notion, or this idea, that Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter is going to drive the platform into the ground. Less than 24 hours ago, Elon Musk posts, Twitter added 1.6 million daily active users this past week, and other all-time high. The platform is the biggest that it has been, and Elon keeps giving us a window into what's really going on behind the scenes. Not only as the platform continues to grow, the censorship was totally biased and headed only in one direction thanks to Elon Musk. It's all being exposed, the whole thing, the whole social media machine is being exposed, and that's probably why left boys are so unhappy. It's probably why Apple, as we understand right now, is working so diligently to find a reason to take Twitter off the App Store, has multiple Twitter executives pull off the platform. It's also why we're seeing these far-left activist groups try to pressure advertisers to pull their money away, as we know the authoritarian left only acts like this when their back's against the wall, and certainly they're trying to stop or they're trying to hide something. But in the end, I think the light is going to reveal everything, and it's time to stand up against the woke authoritarian leftist mob and honestly stand up to the corporations and the advertisers and give them their proxy power. Ladies and gentlemen, give me your thoughts below. And hit subscribe right now. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching the video.